Okay, we seem to somehow have got some conversation in chat about like Islamophobia versus Sharia law. Guys, there's actually a middle ground. Like you don't have to hate and despise all Muslims, and you don't have to sign up to Sharia law. There's actually an option in the middle where you don't hate people, but you also don't have to become a Muslim. Like, can we like both? These are two extremes. Like Sharia law is extreme. Let's be frank, it's extreme. But so is Islamophobia. And in fact, Islamophobia and Sharia law have more in common than not because they're both extremist schools of thought. So pick the non-extremist path where you don't hate all Muslims, but you don't have to become a part of Sharia law either. And try and steer clear of those narratives because those are divide and conquer narratives. The reason that you're told, that the left is like Islamophobia and the right is like Sharia law, like it's a divide and conquer strategy. You can walk down the middle. You don't have to subscribe to either of those.
Yeah, and I actually think that one of the most interesting findings on that subject is the stuff that we've talked about here in Decipher You, that Susie's talked about, especially when we have the document mentioning that the EU is one of the most important strategic, issues that the NSA was talking about. And one of the documents that I looked up the other day for research purposes. But anyway, the point is that, as I believe Susie's mentioned a few times, that logically leads to the conclusion or the possibility that a lot of the migrant crisis going on right now in Europe may be in part to do with that issue of the US wanting to destabilize Europe. But that's just my take on that.
And because they were warned in the UN, on the UN floor, to their faces, if you destabilize Libya, it will cause a massive migrant crisis.
Exactly. And thanks Obama for that. Yeah, exactly.
Millions of people from the African Horn, the barrier that Libya provided, the physical land barrier, will be down. And the population in Northern Africa will flood into Europe. The US was told this to their face. You can go to YouTube and watch the video of Gaddafi telling them, this is, if you destroy our regime, this will happen to you. His direct quote, he said that Europe will become black within the shortest time because you will not be able, that was what he said. Europe will become black within the shortest time because you will not be able to control the flood of the population, the migrants from Northern Africa into Europe. This is what is coming your way if you destroy our borders, if you destroy the security that we provide. And I'm not telling you that Gaddafi is a good person, because obviously anybody who gets into that situation where they're like the fucking dictator of a country is generally like corrupt and generally a murderer and generally God knows what else. So I'm not at all a fan of Gaddafi, but he friggin' stood there and told them, if you do this to us, this is what's going to happen to you. And exactly what he said has come to pass. Exactly. But what he wasn't counting on, and what nobody else knew, was that the US was thinking, well, good, that'll be Europe's problem. And Europe's a threat to us. Why do we give a shit if Europe gets destabilized?
Yeah, and I think it's really, really saddening to know that, Obama did that and was responsible for the actions that, destroyed Libya, and now there are open slave markets of migrants in Libya. So, it's horrific. It really is.
Now Libya's gone back 500 years or more. And now it's a CNN exclusive, but CNN didn't have a goddamn thing to say about what was done to Libya.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, do you want to get back to a couple of more documents before we call it a night, or do you want to wrap it up? Or
sure. Yeah, let's go through what's left.